Welcome one and all, it's time for another Kings of War battle report. Goblins versus Ogres. And my face is about to appear to greet you properly. Hello there. Welcome to this battle report. And you can see here that we have Goblins versus Ogres. And it is the Raze scenario at 2,000 points. So in this scenario, there is an objective in the middle to control at the end of the game. And there are also 3 objectives just inside your opponent's half that you are trying to control at the end of one of your turns and remove it for a victory point. And of course prevent your opponent from doing the same to the objectives on your own side. So we've got some interesting lists here and we shall go through them right now. So on the Goblin side we have the Troll Hordes as usual, but there's a little bit of a change in this one. So normally I have the Blessing of the Gods. No, I don't. That's the item that I don't normally have. So one of them's got Blessing of the Gods in this one. I generally have Dwarven Ale and Chalice of Wrath and Staying Stone, but the Staying Stone is out. Blessing of the Gods is in because I had some points left over and thought, why not try it out? We've also, in this shot here, got the Troll Bruiser, and in this list, he doesn't have any upgrades. We've got some sniffs there. We've got 3 War Trombones. You'll see why they're over on this side in a minute. And then we've got a Rabble Regiment in front of them there. Then over here we get to the real juice. So we've got some more trolls there. Those are the ones with Dwarven Ale there. They've got a wizard behind them who has Guiding Light and he's on a mount. So Guiding Light is the spell that you cast on an enemy unit. And if it succeeds, then all indirect or reload war machines, I believe, firing at that unit will receive +1 to hit for that round. So that matches up nicely with the 4 rock lobbers that I've gone for at the back there. So 3 regulars and Grogger's Great Lobber as well, all around each other. And because the entire opposing army is at least height 2, then I've put one of the rock lobbers in front of the others because I wanted them all in this little lane here. And they're kind of hiding a bit behind Grogger's goons in front of them there, so that enemies shooting at them will have to suffer a penalty at least. Over on this side we've got more trolls, we've got more sniffs, and we've also got a Flaggit with the Diadem of Dragonkind. So the Wiz also has Inspiring Talisman, by the way, so there is an extra inspiring source in there. And that's that. So in the opposing army we have some Ogre Shooters, and they have the Helm of Confidence, I think it is, so they inspire themselves. Then we've got Grokgamok's Finest Braves and some Warriors, and the Warriors have some kind of upgrade on them, but I can't remember what it is. Then we've got Grokgamok behind, we've got a Standard Bearer, and there's also Nomagorok, who is like the caster hero, the Ogres. Then there are some Boomers, there's a Boomer Sergeant, so nice breath attack action there. And over on this side there are some Abyssal Allies. There's a little unit of Tortured Souls, and there is a big flying creature of doom. It might be a fiend of some description. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a big flying beast. It has about 9 attacks, I think. Just overall very scary. So there's the objective in the centre, which we'll hope to hold at the end of the game. And the other objectives, there's one that I'm trying to get on the left-hand side, so I'm not going to prioritise that too much, but I do have to protect the 2 on this side from the enemy. And then over on the right, there are 2 that I'm trying to get, and 1 that my opponent would like on the edge of the woods there. So I am going to prioritise trying to snatch those up. Turn 1. So the roll-off is actually quite important in this game, because if we go all the way back to the first picture of the game, if I had got turn 1, what I was hoping to do is just immediately fire all 4 rock lobbers at the Ogre Shooters, who are over there on the left on their own. Had I succeeded in killing them, there's a reasonable chance I would have got 1 or 2 hits probably with the rock lobbers, possibly killed them, at the very least put them in a vulnerable position, because I would have also been shooting at them with the sniffs over on the left as well, who would have gone up onto the hill to join in. And I would hope to kill them immediately, at the very least get a waiver on them possibly, and at that point I would have kind of free reign to go up and claim that objective on the left hand side at the top there with the sniffs that are over there, only worrying about the Ogre characters who would be hesitant to abandon the centre, I imagine, because they're supporting those units there against Grogger's goons and my trolls, and they're in kind of prime war engine firing lane. But my opponent is going to win the roll off here. So he's going to elect to go first, wisely, because I don't get a chance to kill off one of his units before he's even moved. So, the Abyssal forces have turned away from the little troll battery on the right flank and turned towards the middle, which is okay by me, because they're going towards the 3 war trombones, but we'll see what they do. And then everything in the middle just advances up as fast as it can. Almost, actually, as fast as they can. They don't want to go into my charge range. I don't think they would be able to anyway, actually, because the trolls and the ogres are both speed 6, and you have to start off just more than 24 inches apart, so they wouldn't be able to get into my charge range. But they're just moving up there towards the centre. They don't want to be charged by anything, so I think they're avoiding the sniffs as well, possibly. They probably wouldn't be too bothered being charged by them, though. Over on the other side of the house, then, all the breath attack ogres are over there. And the shooters, what do? Well, they kill one of the rock lobbers immediately. They decide to shoot at one of them. Even though it's in cover, they do get a couple of hits on it and do some wounds and kill it with just 2 damage. So, possibly a little bit sloppy. I could have had these rock lobbers inspired in the first turn, but made the decision not to and paid for it with the loss of 1 lobber there. We'll see if the other 3 can do the damage. Turn 1 for the goblins then. So, over on this side, the trolls are working their way towards the middle now because the enemy have abandoned that flank somewhat. Which is okay because the bruiser, where he's positioned at the moment, he can threaten anyone that wants to land in the woods, maybe attack the sniffs, but he can also, next turn round and just sprint towards that objective and just claim it if the enemy are not near it. So that's what his role is going to be, going around mopping up those 2 objectives, hopefully, unless there's someone for him to fight first. The war trombones have moved out of the arc of vision of the big fiend monster, and the forest there is blocking the view to them. Over on this side, the sniffs have gone up onto the hill, and everyone else is just like circling the ogre advance, but not getting to within charge range of any of them. I want to shoot them first. Then the wizard who pops out, you can see him just in the bottom right of the screen there to get within range of the ogre warriors. He casts guiding light on them successfully, so the rock lobbers have +1 to hit that unit now. And all 3 of them have a go. 2 of them hit, and with the assistance from the sniffs on the hill as well, they do just enough damage to take them out. So that's 1 ogre unit dead. The sniffs over on the right flank, what do? Well, they wound the boomer sergeant a few times, but not enough to worry him yet. So you can see the flagget over there. I decided to abandon the possibility of inspiring my own units and just charge him up towards the shooters, hoping to just dance around them, using the Diadem of Dragonkind to do extra damage on them. So added with maybe some rock lobber hits next time, we can take them out pretty rapidly, hopefully. Over on the right, I would very much like somebody to charge into those sniffs in the woods, so I can then charge into them with the trolls that are there, but I don't think they're going to go for that. The whiz in the middle is positioned so that nobody charging him could overrun into any of my units. But we'll see whether it was the wisest thing to charge him out there into the open to cast Guiding Light at this stage. I was eager to cast the spell before he got killed though, so maybe that was in my thinking there. But you've got to have a bit of patience sometimes though. Turn 2. So, Tortured Souls into the Rabble Regiment, so I'm confident they will survive that. The big beastie into the flank of the whiz. And then the boomers and the boomer sergeant are just going to have a go at booming the sniffs in the woods there. And everything else is moving up. Staying out of my charge range, I think, though. They don't want to be charged by trolls. That would be bad news. And the characters are hiding from the rock lobbers by the looks of it, which is quite funny. And shooters take off my Fleabag sniffs. So, things that sniffs don't like facing. Anything that can shoot, pretty much. The ogre shooters are a great one because they have really long range and they can reliably kill a unit like that in one go. But, oh well. Down here, what do the boomers get up to? Well, they kill the other sniffs, plenty of damage despite shooting into the difficult terrain. And the Tortured Souls only do 3 damage on the Rabble Regiment, but they do manage to kill them with a nice nerve roll there. And of course, I've lost a lot of my inspiring now because the Flaggit ran away on his own. The Wizard has run into the middle of no man's land to cast his spell, and the Bruiser only inspires trolls. So that's maybe a weakness in this list here. And there's how it's looking at the end there. You can see that my trombones moved around before this, but I didn't really take a picture. It was because I needed something to threaten the possibility of that giant flying beastie landing behind my trolls out of their charge arc. And he wouldn't really want to land there if there are multiple war trombones pointing in that direction. So I wanted to entice him into the centre instead. So the Wizard is eaten, as expected. So that monster is just chilling there now. And the Tortured Souls do manage to pick up that objective. So that's going to be a victory point for the Ogres / Abyssal Alliance. Turn 2 for the Goblins. So the Bruiser commences with his plan, and he's going to go and pick up that token to get me a victory point. Hooray. The Trolls are just walking towards the Boomer battery there. And the War Trombones all spin round and shoot at the Tortured Souls and take them out quite easily. The Trolls in the middle charge into the big beast in the centre there, and the Trolls are happy to throw away their lives here because I can't afford that creature to fly and land behind my lines, eat a Rotlobber, and then just turn around on the spot and face into the rear of all my fighting units. That would be the absolute nightmare scenario, so I've got to stop him flying even if it means throwing a unit away. So the Rotlobbers, what do they do this time? Well, I think one of them hits in this round, maybe even two actually. But 8 damage done onto the Grokkagamok's Braves, which is a good start because they have high nerve. Got to get started on them before you fight them. Then the Diadem only does 2 damage to the Ogre Shooters, so that's not going to be enough to worry them yet. Need another turn or two to take them out, probably. And so I've stopped the big beastie flying, but those trolls might get killed. And over there, just advancing towards the enemy, and the Trombones don't like coming up against Ogres with breath attacks because the Ogre Shooters and the Boomer Sergeant, the Ogre Boomers, should I say, and the Boomer Sergeant have the speed advantage on the Trombones, and they have the same shooting range, and they also have much higher nerve. So I would expect if it comes down to a war of the breath attack, the Ogres would come out on top there. They were only positioned on this side to counter the threat of flyers coming into the flank. Turn 3 for the Ogres. So, Grokkagamok's Braves make a hindered charge into the field to attack Grogger's goons, and the Standard Bearer positions itself to prevent the Trolls from flank charging that unit should they fail to kill the goons, which is probably a wise move. Then Grokkagamok and the big beastie go into the Trolls, Grokster in the flank of them, so they're definitely going to die. And over here, the Boomers just position themselves so that they can shoot at the Trombones. And they actually damage that one, up to 8. 3 on that one. The Shooters shoot at the Trolls, over on the left-hand side. They do 6 damage. And both those Trombones are killed. And the Trolls over that got shot on the left are fine. These Trolls take a ton of damage from Grocky and the Beastie there, and they're going to die. Which is okay. Flying Beast turns to face the other side, and Grokster turns to face towards the middle. And not much damage done by the Braves to Grogger's goons. With it being a hindered charge, I was fairly sure they would survive if they only got charged by a single unit there. And because the characters were hiding behind the Braves, I don't know whether any of the other characters could have joined in with the charge anyway. They wouldn't have been able to see them. So that's looking quite healthy there. See how that goes. This side I'm not so confident about, but we'll see. Turn 3 for the Goblins. So the Trolls. So it doesn't look like it from this angle, but they do have a flank charge onto that Boomer Sergeant there. And they're able to eat him because of that, despite it being hindered. And that's a decent position for them to be in now, because they're not in the charge arc of the Boomers. So they could get shot by the Boomers, but I have to accept that. And here, the Bruiser is working his way towards that second objective there. He's already mopped up one and he's on his way to the second. Over here, Grogger's goons countercharge Grokgamok's finest braves and kill them. Very impressive feat there. They were already damaged, though, from the rock lobs earlier, so they're finished off now. And the standard bearer is eaten by the trolls. You can see that they've regenerated some of their wounds as well, both of these units. So the centre's actually looking quite good. But the Grokster is hanging around in there. And the Flaggit is just staying there, toasting the shooters a bit more, getting them up to 5 damage. So slowly working away at them. What do the lobbers do this time? Well, they put some damage onto this big beast of doom, this big flying abyssal monstrosity, but double 1. So it lives. Wow, wow. Which is really bad news, because if that monster had died, I would be tempted to say pretty much game over. Because Grokgamok, making a hindered charge into the Grogger's goons, I would suspect he probably wouldn't kill them with the hindrance of the charge, although it's the Grokster, so you can never count him out. The boomers would have only been able to target one of those 3 things over there. There's trolls, there's the troll bruiser, and the trombone. So it wouldn't have been an ideal situation for them to be in. So that big monster surviving with the double 1 means he can now fight something, and that could drastically change the game in the ogre's favour. Turn 4, so the big flying beastie goes after the bruiser, remembering that there is a scenario in play here, so he doesn't want me getting to that objective. Probably wise. And the boomers turn round so they can have a toast at someone. I think they want to make sure that the trolls are in their front, and they can also shoot the war trombone, which they're much more likely to kill. The Grokster is just working his way towards my rock lobbers, which is okay because he can only kill 1 at a time, and we'll see what he does after that. Over here, Nomagorok just dances around out of the charge arc of all my units there, and then does a little bit of shooting, I think, into the trolls there. The boomers, they do successfully kill the war trombone. And the shooters, what do? Well, they get this troll unit up to 10 damage, but does it kill them? Yes, it does. So they're dead, but you can see that my Grogger's Goons horde sitting near that objective, they're just preventing the enemy from taking it, because they wouldn't be able to have superior unit strength unless they kill this unit first. The trolls go down. The troll bruiser becomes wavered as a result of the attack from this beastie. And that's not too bad though, because he's nimble, so he can kind of position himself how he likes in that area. So if you're going to become wavered, then having it on a nimble unit, keep that in mind when you're deciding what to do with the unit, because you do have more options, since you can turn around and move backwards still, if you want to lead the enemy in a particular direction. It's still not ideal though. Turn 4 for the goblins. So, these trolls that are on the right hand side, which are over there, they charge into those boomers directly in front of them, who are already on a few damage, and kill them, and then turn up towards that objective where the bruiser is battling away. The rock lobbers, what do? Well, they managed to finish off the shooters. I think one of them hits, and the diadem did a bit more damage, so they are toast. Grogger's goons just turn round, making sure they're within 3 inches of that objective, but they don't want to get flanked by Nomagorok. I don't know how many attacks he has, but it's never a good idea to be flanked by any kind of ogre. The bruiser is just leading this big creature away from battle somewhat, and we'll see how that goes, because I'll still be charged. I was hoping that I would have enough distance to pivot him on the spot, move backwards, and get out of the charge arc, which you can do with certain units, particularly fast horse-mounted characters, for example. You have the option of pivoting and then moving backwards and getting out of charge arcs while wavered, which is quite a handy manoeuvre, but the bruiser doesn't have enough distance to do it here. And you can see it's looking, in terms of just the overall battle, it's looking pretty healthy, I would say, because that big beast is almost dead. I think it's an archfiend. I think that's what it is. The Grokster is obviously going to be a pain, but he can only kill 1 unit at a time, and Nomagorok is kind of just sitting in no man's land there. So it's still 1 objective scored each at this stage. Turn 5 for the ogres. So the Nomster is moving towards that other objective, which I'm not going to be able to get to stop him, so I'm going to have to shoot him if I want to stop him getting to that. So he's going to be able to score there. and the Grokster is going to eat one of the machines. Now, we established that the one on the right wouldn't be able to see Nomogrok, so he decided not to charge that one because that was his priority. And the other two, he wanted to charge the one all the way on the left, but he was in the flank, so he wasn't able to actually touch it, so he has to go for the one in the centre. The Archfiend goes after Troll Bruiser again, probably going to finish him off this time, and he does. So Bruiser's dead, but I've got him facing over that way, and if he turns round in this position, then the trolls will have a charge on him, which would kill him, so he's going to have to overrun forwards and then spend another turn turning round. So he does overrun there, just to get out of the way a bit. The Grokster obviously kills a war machine, and then turns around to face that way, into the back of the Grogger's Goon horde, or into the flank at the moment. So, turn 5 for the Goblins. Now at this stage, I do not want to abandon this objective yet, because I'm not going to be able to get all 3 of my objectives, because one of them is too far away from any of my units. I do not want the enemy to get all 3, so I need to protect this one, while also being in a position to jump onto the middle objective at the end and try and claim that. So I've moved these guys out of Grokkergamok's charge range, and also within 3 inches of that objective, so no enemy unit is going to be able to steam in there and take it, and they're also in a position to move towards the middle objective in the final turn. Over here you can see I've got a little bit of damage with the diadem onto the Nomster, but not enough to worry him yet, so he's probably going to go and claim that objective over there, so I need to get one more and the central objective to win. Over here the trolls are just working their way up. Another reason it would have been bad of him to stay where he was and get charged by the trolls is that it would have got me closer to that objective as well. So because they were in difficult terrain, they were only able to move 6 rather than 12 if they were charging. Turn 6 for the Ogres, so Nomogrok gets in position where he can claim that objective within 3 of it, and also shoot at the war machines. The Grokster moves to that spot there, so he's threatening the middle objective, and he's also threatening Grogger's Goons, who will probably have to move or get eaten. And there's how far away. He's stayed within 12 of the war machines as well, so they can't shoot him. Very sneaky. The big Fiend of Doom, he is going to move into the middle, but he has a change of heart in the end and decides to land in front of the trolls instead to block them off, which is probably a good idea, because they would have to kill him and overrun a sufficient amount to get that objective now. Nomogrok, he wavers one of the rock lobbers with 1 damage. And that's how it's looking at the end of that turn. So heading into my turn 6, potentially the last turn, what am I going to do here? Because my opponent is about to steal that objective on the left, so that's going to disappear, so he'll be 2-1 up. I need to successfully kill the Archfiend with the trolls and overrun, and get to within 3 of that token, which is possible with the way he's landed, if I roll high enough. Then in the centre, I can't afford to just sit Grogger's Goons in that spot and guard the objective. If I turn them round to face Grokkergamok, he will charge towards the objective in the middle. And unless I kill him with the rock lobbers, then he would hold that, and my opponent would win 3-2 even if I take the right-hand objective. So, it's only going to be my turn here. So, it's my turn 6 and the game could end there. So what I'm going to do is send Grogger's Goons to the middle objective and just hope the game ends, and hope that I can get onto that right-hand objective, and hope that I just win 3-2. And then if the game continues, then I'll leave Grogger's Goons positioned in such a way so that if Grokkergamok charges them, he won't be able to overrun onto the middle objective. And then I need to hope that I can kill the Nomogrok over on the left to stop him coming in to pick up the objective I'm about to abandon with the Goons. I hope all that makes sense to you. I've only got a turn left and I want to try and get a win. I could sit on that objective with the Grogger's Goons, turn them to face Grokkergamok, and if the game ends there, I would just have a draw. So I could just sit there, get a draw, but if it goes to turn 7, it would be potentially bad news. So, because the Grokster could just go towards the centre, and then he could put himself in such a position so that I wouldn't be able to get within 3 of it with the goons. So it's a spicy one, but I'm going to go for the win rather than guaranteeing a draw. So of course he picks up that token with Nomagrok. And my turn 6. So the trolls do kill the Archfiend, and they overrun successfully far enough to get within 3 of that objective. So there it's gone. They take it, so it's 2 objectives each right now. And then the Diadem successfully wavers Nomagrok, which is very nice because now he can't go and take the other objective. So, and I've positioned Grogger's goons exactly like that, so that I'm within 3 of it. If Grokkagamok wants to try and get within 3 of that objective, that means that he's not killing my unit, which means that my unit just has more unit strength within range of it than he does, so that would just be a win for me. If Grokkagamok attacks and kills the goons, and however far he overruns, he can't get within 3 inches of that objective, so that would just make it 2 victory points each, so it would just be a draw, worst case scenario for me with this setup here. And the Rock Lobbers, one of them just turns, I think, and the other one, I think they might both turn actually, because obviously I didn't know what was going to die in that turn. So there is a turn 7 though. If it just ended there, that would have been a win for me, but there is a turn 7. So Grokkagamok charges into the goons, as expected, and Nomagrok is just dancing around a bit. There's nothing for him to do because it's the last turn and he's wavered. Grokkagamok does kill the goons, but as I planned, he can't get to within 3 of the objective, so it looks like it's just going to end in a draw now. Turn 7 for me. The trolls are just dancing around on the hill. The Rock Lobbers do hit the Grokster. One of them does, I think, but doesn't kill him. And over here I do Diadem off Nomagrok to get some extra kills there. So that's the end. So the only thing surviving for the Ogres is Grokkagamok. I've still got a Flaggit, 2 Rock Lobbers and a Troll Horde, but it's 2 victory points each. If it had ended on turn 6, I would have got the win, but as it is a draw. So that was an incredibly close game. It could have gone either way at several points. I think overall I like the list I've got here, but the way I played it, I was lacking a little bit of inspiring because I ran away. In fact, all 3 of my inspiring heroes went off on solo missions. The Bruiser went off to collect objectives, the Flaggit went off to toast the shooters on his own, and the Wizard hopped out into the danger zone to try and use his Guiding Light spell, because I'd never used it before and I wanted to try and get one in there. So I think I could play a bit more conservatively with them and lose less units, hopefully, because there were some decent nerve rolls to take off some of my units. And overall, though, I think you've got to be happy with that. If you get yourself in a position where you've got a 50-50 chance of winning the game and the other option is just drawing the game, then that's got to be a positive. So overall, good game, close game, 2 very evenly matched armies, I think. And the Rock Lobbers combined with Guiding Light is a very potent setup. I think if I'd got first turn, it could have been potentially bad news for my opponent. I could have hopefully killed off the shooters, which would have saved some of my units later on. And then in turn 2, I would have been able to pop out and do the Guiding Light attack with 4 Rock Lobbers alive instead of 3, which would have been even more potent. So, yeah, I think it's quite a scary list. However, I am thinking of changing it because I'm not sure about taking a quadruple Rock Lobber list to a tournament, because generally people just don't like facing it. So really, the aim of the game, the primary aim of playing these things is to have fun. So I'm not sure 4 is the most fun for an opponent. So I think it's 1 too many. You shouldn't be allowed to take 4 Rock Lobbers anyway. Grogger's Great Lobber should just be an upgrade to a regular Lobber that you can unlock by taking Grogger, the hero. It should just, he can automatically upgrade one of your Lobbers into the Great Lobber when he's in your list. I don't know why that's not the case. Because 4 indirect fire war machines is too much, I think. I know Abyssal Dwarves can actually take a ridiculous amount of indirect fire as well, but I think that's too much for them as well. I think 3 is really enough. I don't see why you need more than that. in an army list. I don't think you should have the option to take more. Okay, I think we're going to wrap this one up then. So it's a draw, and I'm going to try to get another practice game in as well before the tournament. So if the final list is anything like the list I'm going to take to the event, then you'll see that battle report probably on the day of the event rather than before, because I don't want to give away my tactics and show my hand too much. So I'm going to disappear from the screen now. And don't forget to check out all the links in the description, including the link to where you can get a battle mat like this one, which was sent to me a long time ago now. Seen some heavy use along with all the other battle mats that they sent me. So check them out, get all your battle mat goodness. And don't forget to join my Facebook group to see all the latest goings on in my hobby world. I've actually got a unit on the table now that I'm painting, preparing for the tournament. That's what I'm thinking anyway. I'm thinking of changing the list. If I even take Goblins to the tournament for a start, there's a week or so until the lists have to be submitted, so I might change my mind. But I have got one unit on the table now that I'm looking at that I'm not going to show you, and hopefully that's going to be very tasty indeed and add something else to my army that'll just push them over the edge into just ultimate winners of doom. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, all that remains to be said, good night out there, whatever you are.